Why is all this in Revelation? Why? The church got this message knowing a fourth of everybody on earth and sometime in the future is going to die in a singular event. It's because we have the antidote. Life is fragile. Death is inevitable. Everyone you meet is going to die, unless in a moment, in the twinkling of the eye, they've come to Christ and they're taken out in the rapture. But everyone, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Life is fragile. Every year, some super athletic football player doesn't drink enough water and dehydrates and dies in practice or a game. And all these things happen. Life is fragile. Death is inevitable. Christ is the only answer. Global deaths last year, 2 people die every second, 7,000 every hour, 163,000 will die today, and over 60 million people either die with their sins on Christ, like one of the thieves on the cross. The thief that went to heaven, all of his sins were taken and put on Jesus Christ. The other thief, we just celebrated this, right? This is Resurrection Weekend. What a weekend to talk about this. One thief died with his sins on him. He had all his sins with him when he died. He plunged immediately into Hades. He suffered pain and started realizing it was never going to end. The other one who died, they were both equally sinners. But one died with all of his sins taken off and put on Christ, and one died with all of his sins not taken off and left on him. There are only 2 kinds of people in the world. Those that have Christ, those that don't. Those that have Christ, all their sins have been transferred to Jesus, who died and suffered and bled and paid the price for them. All the rest of those have no second chance. If they die with their sins on them, they forever pay for those sins. Space will shake, the skies are torn asunder. I'm going to show you pictures of this. It's coming up. But all this stuff is repeated in chapter 8. And the lamb becomes the lion. It's so interesting. You know, Jesus is the meek and mild man. But boy, he goes from a lamb to a lion. Bonnie and I, early on in our marriage, we started out, remember she was earning $60,000, I was earning $30,000, and we would go to breakfast every morning. We were newlyweds, we had made a commitment, we were going to read the Bible together every day, so we would read the Bible every day. We would drive downtown Los Angeles about 5:30 in the morning. She had to go to work, I had to go to work, and so we got up early. We could have all slept in, but I wanted to read the Bible, and I loved spending time with her, so we would go to the same place. We went to a restaurant, it's still at 9th and Figueroa, it's called The Pantry. And we were totally unaware of everybody around us. We were so in love. By the way, if you have a biblical marriage, that continues. I'm often this way. And so it's wonderful to still be. I always tell people we're still on our honeymoon. We're still newlyweds and all this kind of stuff like that. But we were reading the Bible to each other. And the way we do it is we would read one chapter of the New Testament. And I would read a few verses, and Bonnie would eat for a little while. Then I'd turn the Bible around, and she'd read a few verses, and I would eat for a while. And we would pray holding hands before we ate, and then when we got done reading, we'd hold hands and talk, and then finally I had to take her to her job being a legal secretary, and I had to go do my job. So we did that for 3 weeks in a row. I didn't even realize the same guy was waiting on us. That's how terrible I was in love. And so we sat in the same restaurant every morning, because it was right by where Bonnie worked. We ate the 99-cent breakfast, which was 40 years ago. That used to be 99 cents. And we would read the Bible and everything. And finally, after 3 weeks, this guy came and leaned over, and I alluded to this first hour, or the first week. He leaned over and said to us, "I am a cocaine addict." I thought, what does he think I am? In confessional, a priest or something? Why are you telling me that? He leaned over. He had the big red nose. When you snort coke, your capillaries expand huge, and he had a gigantic red, runny, cocaine snorting nose. So I knew everybody knew he snorted cocaine. But he leans over and says, "I snort cocaine." He says, "Wears off in about an hour." Here's the punchline. He looked at Bonnie and me. And he said, "What are you two on?" He said, "You have been high every time you come to breakfast. I'd like to know what drug you have because I want that drug. You see, everybody in the world knows they're missing something. The Spirit of God is causing them to have a decreasing capacity for enjoying their sin. They're looking for something. And what do they look for? Cocaine or money or, being the perfect Instagram person, photoshopped so everybody adores you until they see you and you're not what you were. And, they live for something. And that pantry man, what are you on? I'll tell you what we were on, John 7:37. You know what the Bible says? Out of you will flow rivers of life-giving water. We were high, kind of like the people on the day of Pentecost where they thought they were drunk. It's very similar. Christians are always thought to be on something because they're so abnormally joyful in a very unjoyful world.